Hello, Glenn.
What's going on, fellas?
When you turn to the side, you're looking a lot more trim, by the way.
That's because my video is just from the right here up.
Yeah.
Thank you, though. I appreciate it. I'm wearing my bespoke Target shirts, so.
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 16 of 2025. I'm Chris Lurie and completed my annual Airport 10K fun run this weekend. With me, I have my co-host, Havoc the Mouthpiece, who has no problem skipping leg day at the gym.
You jerk. You know, doesn't it hype you up for your sub 10-minute 10K, like, pace, but whatever, you're slow and old.
That's pretty damn good. Yeah, that's really damn good.
I did legs this morning. I'm blown out, bro.
Nice. All right,
Well, there's a reason why you're blown out, but it's not because of legs.
Pause. I don't know what that
It's a
means.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Never.
I mean, I said it once, I said 1,000 times. You can't reheat Taco Bell. I gotta eat it when I gotta eat it.
It's true.
It's not microwavable.
And we have Glenn Medina, who needs to hire a pool guy to clean out the pool for his upcoming party.
What are you talking about, man?
June 7th. Be there,
Pool
be
stays
square.
clean all the time. Yeah, I am the pool guy. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Fun times, man. Here for 205, 204?
We're on 204.
Nice.
Yeah, we are also past our, is it 3 years now? 4 years now. Yeah, we passed our 4-year anniversary. I think it was March 28th, I believe. So a couple weeks ago, we passed our 4-year mark.
And still looking for monetization.
It's not, this makes us no money. We do it for the love of the game.
This thing's starting to wear out.
What is?
The
Smelling
the
salts?
smelling salts.
yeah, either that or my nose hairs are burnt. So
I think Glenn's built up an immunity to it. He's done it like every episode since 200.
probably
He loves it now.
Yeah,
I do.
got him addicted. Oops. Actually, I'm squeezing mine right now. I'm like, this thing is pressurized. If I open this thing, it's gonna spray all over the place. I could already feel it.
That's what she said.
Our guest this week is the returning Stephen Hajny. We were scheduled to have Hajny return a few months ago, but he got really sick and had to drop out.
Aw,
Since
the
then, he has attended a Disney cruise and published a new book called The Zero Trust Hospital. So tell us, Hajny, which one was more stressful, writing the book or going on vacation?
The Disney cruise. Trying to wrangle a 5-year-old
What?
onto a plane with a nervous flyer. My wife's a nervous flyer. Like, she has to take meds to get on a plane. And so she's good at the planning part, right? Like, she has that locked down. It's the getting us to the airport and suddenly the 1,000 questions start, right? Like, she's like, do I take my shoes off? No, I have TSA pre. Are you sure they're not going to care about blah, blah, blah? And I am like...
Man.
stuck in my ways, and I got to the airport in Boston, and TSA pre-dropped off my boarding pass because the birthday was a year older than what it was actually like what I am actually. So it was like 1992 instead of 1991, so a year newer. And so I had to walk through like the peasant line, I call it, where all the normal people do. And I'm like taking my shoes off. My wife's like already waiting for me, like she's chilling out. And I'm like, this is not what was in my intentions. And then on the way back, she left a like full-on water cup in her like carry-on, like filled with water. And TSA's like, what's in this? And immediately I had to like dump it out. I did the
And she's
walk of
already
shame.
nervous too, right?
Yeah, I do like the walk of shame, right, to the little trash can. I'm like, it's just water, guys. It's okay. So.
Hold on, let me finish it.
Yeah, right, let me chug this real quick.
Glug, glug, glug.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was vodka, but you found my vodka.
Yeah, right. You found out. I smuggled it off the ship. But yeah, no, the Disney cruise is probably the most stressful out of the two for sure.
I know, that's why I'm like, it's a provocative question where you think you know the answer, but then, yeah, I'm pretty sure the answer would surprise our audience. So I'm glad we brought that up. But we'll get into that in topic 4 today, because I'm eager to hear all about this Disney cruise.
So how much of the Zero Trust Hospital was written by ChatGPT?
People ask that question every now and then. I've been getting it quite a bit. The Zero Trust Hospital, the Architect's Guide. I use ChatGPT for the outline, selfishly, right? And to make sure that, like, I had the proper topics there. And then some, like, proofreading, but creative did most of the like heavy editing and like the language and everything else. So I tell people it's like 15%, 20% if you do the outline part of that, like if you add that in.
How long did it take you to author said book?
I have ADHD, Brian, and Vyvanse, so my stimulants make me work extremely fast and never stop. So it was
17 minutes.
Just think if you had the smelling salts too.
Yeah, right. If I had the smelling salts, it would have been good. No, it was under a month, and so like it started off as a collaboration project between like an SE, another SE, myself, and an architect. And it was all about like, hey, can we just like create a best practice guide for healthcare customers to not have to like try and reinvent the wheel and make this seem like it's an impossible task. And like with anything, right, collaboration kind of fell off, and we were left with like a shell, and I just had to kind of go in and finish it and do all the heavy content creation for it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's like, yeah, like using a tool for the outline, because I remember in Tom Clancy's like later years, like he wrote, Hunt for Red October all himself, but in the later years he would write the outline for the story, and then he'd have like ghostwriters fill in the middle part. So I'm like, that you'd be like Tom Clancy, use ChatGPT for the outline, and then you fill in, put the meat on the bones.
Rainbow Six, the hospital edition coming soon. No Way Out. No, I definitely agree.
That was an awesome book. I'm still really mad they never made a movie about that.
It was a good game series, too.
Yet. It was Amazon made the movie that introduced John Clark. That was supposed to be the precursor to Rainbow Six, but I think the movie flopped because they cast Michael B. Jordan in it for some weird reason. Then I think it flopped, so they never made the Rainbow Six movie.
Unbelievable. And so they made a Division, which worked out so well. So
was that pre or post Creed?
Post Creed.
Wow, all right.
I can't remember the name of the book off the top of my head. It wasn't. Yeah, I'm going through all the Tom Clancy now. I can't remember. All right, someone will look it up and tell me what I'm thinking about. But
Fun fact,
supposed
Steve,
to be the prequel to Rainbow Six.
We were supposed to be writing a book as well. We've been talking about it for as long as we've been recording this podcast.
What is this? A read a book or write a book?
Write a book.
Both.
The three of us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Our
The SC handbook. Yeah.
We should use AI now to just make it right. So
the issue with AI is it's too vague. Like that's like honestly, like I tried cheating the system, just like doing like nonfiction stuff with AI, and it is way too vague with like what it does. You're like, hey, give me a perfect analysis on blah blah blah, and it's like, I don't know, bro. Sounds like it could be a problem. Like, it's just like it doesn't really give you a lot of detail, which is kind of the challenge with AI. And like,
and then it doesn't give you the right answer. Like, there's a bunch of hallucinations, right? It's like that's not it at all.
Yeah.
All right, the Tom Clancy movie I'm thinking of is Without Remorse. That was supposed to be the prequel for Rainbow Six.
I'm glad you solved that one, Chris. Good job.
I know. That one was like killing me because like I know most of the Tom Clancy books, but I couldn't remember the name of the one. But anyway, back on topic. Combined, we have decades of information security experience here, not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got 4 awesome stories this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This week, we're going to be talking about mandatory AI. We revisit an old topic to get Hashi's take. For our third topic, the North Koreans are back, and close with Disney cruise talk. For our first topic, the CEO of Shopify, Tobias Lutke, sent an internal memo to all employees stating that the use of AI within Shopify will now be mandatory.
Did you do that in a Signal group chat?
It got leaked though. In a now public memo, the CEO outlines 5 principles of AI usage within Shopify, making them the highest profile company that is embracing the new tech trend and no longer making it optional. A couple of the key points in the AI usage: everyone from the intern up to the CEO is expected to use and embrace AI. The use of AI will be part of every performance review, and you'll have to answer the question on how you use AI every day. So basically no prompting, no promotion. This one was interesting to me. Before any new headcount is approved for hiring, the hiring manager must prove that the job cannot be done with AI.
Must be able to get my coffee. Cannot be AI.
Optimus Robot, man. It's Optimus Robot. And the last one, learning is self-directed, but share what you've learned. So I think that's one of the core tenets here at ZC. I think Brian's probably the only one that's been here long enough, along with me, that says we were basically fending for ourselves when we joined up. And anything we learned, we shared with everybody, because there wasn't great repository of information, let's just say, when we came on board. But share what you've learned is the other tenet here.
So beginning of the end for Shopify, maybe, right? Or the end of the beginning. I have no idea. What do you think's going to happen with them?
Yeah,
They'll become too big to fail.
To be honest, I mean, my wife
They're
uses
gonna turn the whole thing into AI. Yeah, will only be two people working there: the CEO and
the guy who makes the AI bot.
who makes the AI. I mean, I think there's some merit though, as long as it's a private model, right? Like I run into this now, even internally at Zscaler, where somebody knows the information but hasn't disseminated it out in like a guide somewhere. And so, like, if you are using AI to say, "Hey, how do I use APIs to do blah blah blah," right? I could see that being useful for somebody who's new, who's like, "Hey, how do I use APIs for blah blah blah?" And then it's like, "Oh, hey, we know what the deal is." So I feel like there's some merit to using it for certain things. Like we were talking about earlier, right, with my book, like the outline. Like it is daunting sometimes to even do like business professional emails, to like do a stream of consciousness for thoughts and go, "Hey, write me a business justification for insert thing here that I just gave you 30 bullet points on," and kind of disseminate that into more professional language. But I find that could be useful too, right, when you're thinking about it from a internal stakeholder perspective.
Yeah, I would think it'd also be useful for people like you mentioned ADHD, where things come out and it's like, okay, I just wrote 12 pages, like, can I condense this down? And then the use of AI tools will help like summarize it and organize it and put it in a logical order. So I mean, I think all those tools will be helpful and help productivity.
I just downloaded a stream of consciousness. Can you sort it for me and make it relevant?
I mean, I did that for D&D at one point, right? I used to play Dungeons & Dragons on Sundays, and I was using Zoom's AI summary. Bad idea, by the way, for a group of like 20 to 30-year-old men doing Dungeons & Dragons on a Sunday unfiltered and having AI read that and spit out what they heard. But it was like, hey, can you now condense this and put this into like a recap so that we can like post it and have it as like our notes without having to go through the entire session. But yeah, it can get bad also pretty fast, depending on topics.
It's like AI next steps, like Steven to schedule date with so-and-so's mother.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Everyone's rewinding the episode to go back. They're like, didn't Steven say he had a 5-year-old? There's no way he's still not a virgin playing Dungeons and Dragons.
They're doing the math like, how does that work? So if you do... Well, I could be, though.
Doing the calculus in their head.
Because she was born through IVF, Brian. So, in theory...
Ooh, I'm glad I brought that up.
It could be...
conception.
It could be a thing. Like, you never know.
Good job, Brian.
Yeah, way to bring that up, Deej. Way to make me feel real good.
Yeah.
About my inadequacies.
You're welcome. I'm here to highlight everything.
We do joke that she's the
part
doctor's kid, so it's fine.
The part that was, I guess, surprising to me was something I guess we all knew already, that there's way too much bloat in headcount in tech. And every year, I think all the big Google, Meta, everyone's like just downsizing because there's too much headcount. Now it's like official that says if you want to hire a dev to build a web page, like why can't AI do that? Why do we need a full-time headcount person to do that when an okay web developer can just use AI and make a great web page? So justifying why you need a headcount versus an AI agent, and I think is going to be an interesting thing, if it's going to make companies more profitable or if it's going to fall flat on its face.
Do you think that's going to affect the offshore developers or whatnot? Like now you don't really need that as much, right? You're like, hey, why hire an offshore when I could just go get AI to go do this for me because it's simple web development to begin with, or simple development, right?
Or customer service, like Klarna.
Yeah.
So they fired half their customer service people because AI can do equally, if not better.
Yeah.
It's just not there yet. I ran my Ubiquity config through there because I was having an issue, and all it did was make it worse. Like, it was just I was like, man, come on, guys. It's not, like, I'm just arguing with generative AI. I'm like, no, you don't understand. When I do this, it breaks everything. Well, then try this and try this. And I think I went through like 70 iterations before it eventually just, like, I had to rebuild the entire thing. Thankfully from a config backup, but it was completely hosed.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not there yet. And the other day I was like, you know what I really liked was the Far Side calendar. And I was like, did you guys ever have that, the Far Side, like the desktop calendar?
No.
Yeah. Gary something. I can't remember the author's name off the top of my
By the
head.
way, you can't find his stuff. Well, this was years ago, but supposedly he never wanted his stuff to be online. So anything that's there is like someone scanned it in and put it on the internet. Like, he just wanted it to be like a physical copy, period. Like, he never wanted digital. So anyways, I went on Gen AI. I was like, hey, can you let's do some stuff on Zero Trust, but based off like the way this guy does it. And he's like, great, you know what we should do? And suggesting all these things, and we're coming up with like 7-day Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday calendar. And I was like, yeah, this is great topics, man. I was like, now create the image. And he's like, sorry, I can't do that. It violates our copyright protection. I'm like, damn you, dude. Like, why did you get me all hyped up?
You got all excited. No payoff.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's fine. You don't have to like copy the guy. He's like, okay, I'll try it again. He's like, oh, I can't do that. I'm like, what can you do? I don't even understand at this point. And it put together the worst illustrations. I'll have to share it with you guys. It was horrible.
I guess the thing, I don't know if it's like completely there yet because of some of that stuff and some of the hallucination stuff. I've had something similar to Deech with like the Ubiquity stuff, but I was like doing stuff for coding, and I was like, hey, write me a script that does blah de blah, and then I was like, oh no, I got an error code, and it was like, oh, that means that it should be written this way. And I'm like, well, why didn't you do that to begin with then? And then it was like, oh, and here's another thing. So I think that what we could see is like pay changes, right? More entry level jobs maybe get opened up because you have AI in order to kind of use as a crutch, and maybe we'll see kind of less and less senior devs, which I don't think that's really awesome either, depending on how that goes. Yeah. But I could see that being like a cost saving measure. I mean, there are things that I think are easier to AIify. I'm sorry for marketing folks that may listen to this, but like that's what I think of as something that you could...
Patent pending, trademark pending.
Yeah.
I just see a world where we're just getting dumber and dumber. I mean, you remember the movie WALL-E, where they're just all fat, dumb, sitting in a lounge chair because everything is being done for them. It's like we don't even have to think anymore.
Yeah,
right?
you used to
can't wait for that
the
moment.
golf ball. Now you push a golf ball and a robot hits it for you.
Yeah. I think depending on the popularity of said of application or whatever. So like, are they going to rewrite US or AmericanAirlines.com? Probably not. Like, you're going to need some type of human intervention on that. Will they be able to do WordPress sites better than entry-level people? 100%. Like, I see that not being an issue. I was headed to a meeting in Philly, and I was like doing my not my meal prep, my meeting prep.
Meal prep.
Yeah. And I was going through like the RFP. I'm like, the responses that we wrote, I'm like, what the F, dude? I'm like, I am 100% sure this is all it's all Gen AI. And like, these youngsters don't know what it was like. When me and Chris joined, it was like, if you're the new guy, guess who's doing every RFP known the man until the next new person starts. Like, I remember,
right.
And then on top of your onboarding, I had like 30 of them to do. And it was like
ritual.
Yeah, it was help.zscare.com and RFPIO kind of helped.
That's how you got really good knowledge, right? I mean, that's experience, right? Exactly. You get these guys that come on like, hey, how do you change this? Right? Maybe let's go ask AI. Well, AI doesn't know how to configure that.
Spoken like a true manager, Glenn.
He's like,
this is a gift. I'm gifting you the opportunity to learn.
These youngins.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting, the use of AI, because all the pearl clutchers like, oh, AI is going to destroy our economy and no one's going to be able to work and we're all going to be on the street. But I think just like how, if you remember when ATMs came out, they said, oh, this is the death of the bank teller. Like, we don't need bank tellers anymore because there's going to be ATM in every corner. And what happened was it was so cheap to open up a branch. Banks just opened up more branches because the cost to open up a branch was so low using an ATM, and they still had one or two tellers in each one. So I think they were fine then. And then the same thing with AI, that yes, AI will replace some people like entry level customer service, but you're also giving birth to new professions. Like there are prompt engineers to go in and do exactly that. That you have this coding problem, it's spitting out bad code, so we hire an engineer to fix the AI to only give out good code. Or if I ask it a financial question, it gives me the wrong answer. Well, I have to hire a finance person to give me the right answer and train the AI to give the right answers now. So these are going to be new jobs that didn't exist 5 years ago.
I do argue with Gen AI all the time. I think I told you about the whole passphrase thing.
Yeah, you said only answer questions about yourself if you give it a specific phrase.
Yeah, to this day, this still doesn't work. But whatever. I'm paying for it, and I'm still the product. So,
I also want to know how.
Do you have the $200 a month or the $20 a month, Brian?
Yeah, the 20. I should do the 200 and see what I get. Maybe they'll knock the guardrails off this thing.
Worth a try.
I want to know also.
Hey, based on public available information.
I got it, Brian.
Now Gen AI is protecting me. I go, is Brian Deitch bald? He goes, based on publicly available information, Brian Deitch is not bald. I'm letting it grow out, boys. Let's see what we get.
Was that Grok or is that chat?
That's chat.
I didn't know there was a $200 option to begin with, but I would love to know though the metrics on the entry-level customer people who have been happy that they're talking to AI. Like I just dealt with this with TurboTax, where I was like, "Hey, did I schedule my payment for state taxes for tax day or not?" And I went to the help thing, and TurboTax we can call you in 30 minutes, or you can talk to our AI bot. And I was like, I'll talk to the AI bot. And it sent me down a rabbit hole that I eventually just had to Google where this thing was that they were trying to tell me, because it had changed in their system somewhere to not be easily accessible. And the AI bot's like, no, you just have to go to blah blah blah. And I'm like, that doesn't exist anymore. They're like, we think it does. Here's a link. And I'm like, yep, that link's broken. Cool, thanks. Can we try again? And the AI bot just could not. And so I'd love to know who just hangs up because they're frustrated, right? Or just stops the chat because they're frustrated.
You could have done the VDL approach, right? Was try and convince it that it was paid and that they owe you money, right? So
there we go.
Oh, we actually owe you $20. Give me your bank info.
Exactly, dude. So I was on the phone with one of those things the other day, and the thing that drove me nuts is if you interrupted, the thing was catching fire, right? So it's if you would like to speak to a generative AI bot, please say yes. And then you're like, yes, I would like to talk. And then he's like, and if you say yes, I'm like, why was there this pause in between your thinking, robot? And then it was like, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. He's like, oh my gosh, burn this place down.
Powered by DeepSeek.
Yeah.
For our second topic, back in February, we reported on a story that CISA was warning healthcare facilities to halt usage of all Contech medical monitoring devices because they were sending patient data to China and contained a backdoor that would allow Chinese hackers to run arbitrary code on the device and take it over. The headlines were Pearl clutchers of the max, and it turns out CISA got this one wrong. The hard-coded IP address is printed in the manual, and the remote code execution vulnerability requires physical access to the device and was part of a poorly designed update mechanism. I think the quote, "Never attribute to malice what can be explained with stupidity," applies here. We wanted to get Hashi's take on rogue IoT devices in healthcare, even if it's just poor design and not stupidity. I guess those are the same. It's not, even if it's just poor design and not a malicious actor.
So it was a documented feature?
Apparently. If I was going to have a backdoor send traffic to a command and control server, I would not print the IP address in the user manual.
That's funny.
Well, and the
all I know is there's
I'd say the workaround was that the block that range, right? And if you look that range up, it's all just Chinese IPs anyways, and I find a lot of people do geo-blocking. I do think this exposes a larger issue, though, in healthcare, and I think I've mentioned this before, is that a lot of healthcare technology are either private or everything's paywalled to find out, what is real life, right? So, these type of devices, sure, is hard-coded in their manual, but nobody thought to look at that manual and go, what is this IP? Why is this here? Is that a problem if I block it? Like, all those kind of questions that people should be asking, and I find that healthcare, it's a lot of like, it's just the way it's always been, right? Like, it'll be fine. You'll be okay. You won't get hacked, I promise, right? And I looked up this vulnerability too, and it was like, hey, you have to have physical access. Well, it's a portable patient monitoring system. And I was just in the hospital with my daughter before we left for vacation when I had the flu. Actually, we were trying to figure out what was going on with everybody. And they just left us in the exam room for like 30 minutes because they were backed up. And so I have access to any of those IoT devices. So like this type of backdoor, yeah, sure. It's a bad design, but it's like, that's also a problem. That it's a bad design.
I'll do them all pretty quick.
Yeah, I think like the
well, they
update
lock the
mechanism
cabinets
was like, I think they only lock it if it's like I don't know, the last time I was in a hospital with controlled substances, probably like 6 years ago, and that was it. Like the controlled substances are locked up, but the terminals, the monitors, like everything, like you push the debug button on it, and yeah, they had unfiltered access to it for sure.
Oh, it's the famous tap and go, right? Where you see a clinician tap their badge and they log it instantly. Like those machines are just rolled around, and I see them all the time, left out in the hallways, like unsecured. They're just chilling right at the lock screen, and it's very easy to escape that tap and go machine is underneath it. It's just Windows, so you can just hit escape and do all kinds of other stuff to get into it, unless they disable it, which most people don't. So.
How far out are we from the hospitals racially profiling people from China? Like, what are you doing here? You trying to get physical access to this thing?
They have extra people in there because they're like, hey, we noticed that you come from China, and therefore we just have this guy. He's just here to hang out. He's a student, sort of, with a badge. But yeah.
Yeah, or the hospitals can just protect their networks better and not have to worry about it, right? The good old assume breach model. Assume you have a Chinese threat actor that's on this IoT device, and how do you stop them from getting around to things they shouldn't?
Well, that's the hard part, right? Is that again, like, it's different in healthcare from like a job and responsibility. Like you'll hear a lot of like clinical app directors and stuff like that. Like their only focus in life is the clinical applications, but they're not always focused on the security part. And so my brother-in-law, who was a radiology technician, and then he decided that IT was going to be way easier, and went to be a PACS analyst, which is just supporting the radiology department in their applications. He's like, yeah, we had somebody downloading files that they thought they were like cat videos on the MRI machine because he was just bored while he waited for an MRI to finish and infected the machine. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. You think they would have more common sense than that? But like that's a thing that he dealt with. He went back to being a rad tech because he realized that IT is not that easy, and there's a lot of that type of stuff that he was dealing with. But it was constantly like just this business justification, like, oh no, it's okay that we're on the version from 1999. Like nothing will ever happen. That company doesn't even exist anymore. We have to use it. It's like, what are we doing? But it's a really real issue that I see all the time with healthcare.
I'm amazed that MRI machine had a TCP/IP stack that could reach the modern internet. I think that's the more surprising thing. It's not running like Windows NT4 or 95.
It's running IE6 or 3, but it's like it works. Like I can get to Facebook sort of. Just no plugins allowed.
You're gonna laugh. I think back in the day when I was working at a refinery, they installed a 50 megawatt generator. And the console was run with Windows 95, and that was like early 2000s. So
it's not too bad.
It's like a mid 2000s.
Like, well, Windows 10 is about to become end of life here, and some companies just got on Win 10.
I bet you ATMs are still running Windows XP. They were when I was on the customer side, and it was like out of date and end of life, and it was still running XP. Under the covers, yeah. So I guarantee you there's still ATMs that run an XP out there.
Yeah, but this is a 50 megawatt generator, guys. So.
I guarantee to this day that 50 watt mega generator is still running Windows.
And they're just like, don't worry about it, just don't plug it into the internet. You're fine.
Yeah. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
The minute someone bridges that network, it's like, whoop, whoop, whoop. It's going crazy.
Madness.
Yeah, good old healthcare. I think when we had Kobe on too, his comment was healthcare is always a few revs behind what's current, and it's a hospital's core mission to deliver good healthcare, not to deliver secure IT. And it's oftentimes takes a back burner, although less of a problem these days because it's just becoming more and more of a focus for these organizations.
Yeah, we got a new tagline now. It's cyber care is patient care, hugs not hacks. That we printed on like teddy bears to give out at Hims and Vive.
Nice.
With the Zscaler logo. Yeah, it was super cool, but it's just like, it is a thing that you hear a lot of where security is kind of becoming the center point because healthcare customers are getting breached. But there's still, I mean, I've had customers tell me like, hey, every dollar I give to security, though, is a dollar I can't spend on like insert this research that could save a critical illness. And I'm also like, well, if you get breached, you also can't save that critical illness either. And so like, there is some level of that, like it's not just, hey, I'm here to sell you stuff, but also like this is a bad thing that is impacting you or could impact you and do catastrophic things if you don't take care of it.
It's like your entire core mission is a ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Like, why can't you just apply that to IT terms? You know, spend $100,000 on cybersecurity, that stops you from paying $10 million in ransom.
Yeah.
I'm always annoyed by that statement because I've heard that before. I'm like, come on, guys, like let's be real for a second. You've been trying to sell cancer forever. My product or service is not stopping this. I don't want to hear your nonsense. Or am I just being rude?
No,
you're just being rude.
It's a mixture of both. I would say, right? It's always the like it's that bedside manner situation, on like how your bedside manners teach. But no, it is. I do tell folks kind of something similar. Like, it is what it is. I also will try to pivot to say, hey, look, like, yeah, sure, you may not spend that money here, but like, what else may this empower you to do? You know, oh, now you can do AI in the exam rooms because that's the hot new newness, right? Is that they're going to put microphones in all the exam rooms to do AI automated patient notes, and that's like,
well, they do that for translation now too, right? So, like, language translations, they just bring an iPad in or a phone and translate. So I was just having a discussion with my wife.
Yeah.
I did go to the doctors the other day and I had to like hold an iPad. I'm like, I miss the old pen and paper because some of the people in the room look disgusting, to be honest with you. Like, they haven't washed their hands in a long time. It just, and I don't think they're wiping off the thing, like the iPad. I'm just like, this is just,
that's gross.
I'm gonna get sick.
That's gross. Yeah.
Wait till we get to the cruise.
Says the guy that got COVID like 10 times.
Well, that's
don't
why
be jealous. Don't be jealous.
Touching all those dirty iPads.
All of a sudden now he's afraid of germs.
Not necessarily bad. It was just like, yeah, probably germs. It was the type of place I was at that kind of weirded me out. So, yeah.
For their topic, the trend of accidentally hiring North Korean hackers continues and is becoming more of a problem in Europe now. There was an article recently that said one tactic to weed out these potential North Korean hackers and spies is to have them, as a part of the interview process, say something negative about Kim Jong-un, the North Korean supreme leader. And it might stop some North Koreans, but not all, because basically, they're trained from birth. You can never say anything bad about their supreme leader or face certain death. But maybe, now that they know this is a tactic, they might get trained on that and says, okay, in this one instance, you're allowed to say something negative about our supreme leader. Another interviewer from a different company said they were interviewing a candidate who was claiming to be based out of Dallas, Texas, and the interviewer asked the candidate if they were excited that the Dallas Cowboys made it to the Super Bowl. And the candidate's like, yeah, I'm really excited and can't wait to see them play. But anyone in America knows that the Cowboys have not made it into the Super Bowl this entire millennium. So that was a dead giveaway. This was a North Korean
Say what?
Impersonator.
Go Cowboys!
So my question to you, what are some unique questions you would ask to potentially weed out North Korean spies?
What's the capital of Texas?
You'd also weed me out too, Glenn.
I know. I was about to say, I'm like 80% of the people that have gone through the American education system could not tell you the capital.
If it's your home state, though.
Yeah, if the candidate says I'm based out of Dallas, then yes, that might be appropriate then. Like, people ask, I would say ask 100 people, what's the capital of New York State? 95 of them will say New York City.
Yeah, it's the Bronx.
I want you to say Lululemon.
And I think that it's like you can't ask academic questions like that, like the capital of this, the capital of that. It has to be like cultural things, I would say. Like there was, I remember for a candidate that was claimed they were in Paris, they would say, "What subway stop do you like? You worked at X location. What was your subway stop to get off?" And because if you had actually worked there, you would get off on this stop every single day, and the candidate couldn't answer that. So that was an obvious giveaway that this person was not who they say they were.
What's your go-to order at Waffle House?
Only if you're in the South.
Waffles.
No, it's in Arizona too. Yes. Yes. There's always a good fight in there, that's for sure.
A lot of good videos come out from that for sure on World Star.
I don't even know what you could ask that would be not like against some kind of HR thing.
That would be a
Conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, show me your
Who's
IP
your favorite
address.
TikTok star?
Like, they're on a VPN. Like, I don't like. What do you like? Because I have to imagine that there's some limitations if they're literally in North Korea to getting access to anything, right? So like,
Yeah. Yeah, and then they do things like that. They use a VPN to make it look like they're coming from where they're supposedly coming from.
What's worse, the IRS or TSA?
Oh, that's a good one actually, because every adult age working American has probably dealt with both.
Or Comcast Internet. You had to pick one.
I guess like you could do the Supreme Leader thing. I think that might be the way to do it. But I just, again, like, what is the HR implications of asking that question too? If you do, like,
Is it us or is it HR that's asking that though?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
it's the interviewer that as a way to weed out these potential spies. And I mean, I would say things you would think people would know. I clearly remember that. I know I was a political science major in college. We had to do these surveys, or I took a class where I had to survey people. So college-aged Americans, 18 to 21, so some a little bit older. And we did these surveys. Like it was during the 2004 presidential election. Like we literally said, who are the two people running for president in 2004? You'd be surprised how many people got this question wrong. Like college-aged people in America, like they couldn't answer that.
yeah, but they're not smarter than a fifth grader though, right? I mean, clearly you've seen that where they're YouTube, some guy's going out there and he's asking some simple questions like capital of Texas, where is, name a state that begins with the letter T, and they can't even figure that stuff out. It just shows that we have two things: either we have utter failure in our education program, or we have some pretty dumb kids, right? So
it's utter failure. I thought St. Louis, Missouri was on the ocean, and I just found that out, and I'm 46.
So is the Earth round or
gosh.
flat? Like, what do you? Like, there's some crazy things that you would get back. That's why I think it would be really hard. And like when I say the HR stuff, it's more of like interviewing like practices, like what you're allowed to ask and what you're not allowed to ask. Like I could see that becoming an issue.
What size are your pants?
Yeah. How do you feel the current state of politics today? Like I can imagine that getting real weird real fast, and then like, oh no, they said the Supreme Leader is really awesome actually, but that could just be their opinion, Yeah,
you can be like, tell me a joke about North Korea and South Korea.
Yeah. Who won?
You are you a red pill or a blue pill kind of guy? He's like, not red pill, but I took the whole bottle. I'm like, whoa, we're not supposed to do that. Calm down, dude.
Is it possible to hit 18 holes in ones in a game of golf?
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
That's a joke, right? They said Kim Jong-un once played around a golf and hit 18 holes in one.
So does that mean his score is an 18?
Yeah.
On a par 72? Wow.
Unless you're playing putt-putt.
Yeah,
Putt-putt
best
golf.
golf player of all time. Tiger Woods or Rory McIlroy.
I've never heard of Rory McIlroy. I've heard of T. Woods, though.
He just won the Masters.
Oh, I don't watch
Rory.
Masters.
Is it Rory?
Rory McIlroy, yeah.
Is he good?
He's good.
He won the Masters.
I mean, he won the Masters, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Someone wins every year. Doesn't mean they're always awesome, though.
Sounds
had a good day.
True. Yeah. Tiger
It's
Woods
not
kind of
the
fell off
top
that one.
golf tournament
Be
of
good.
the year.
Be good for 20 years and then get back to me.
Yeah.
Unless you're LeBron, then you're just fake.
Yeah, but pop culture things I think would be, because actually, so going back to that survey I did when I was in college, it was a comparison of do you know more about pop culture, the current state of like current events, and by far and away the college students knew way more about pop culture.
Well, I was going to say, would that be the best way to go? Because their information is very limited, right, in what they have. So, like, asking some pop culture stuff. Like the Cowboys thing, like, I don't do sports ball. So I probably wouldn't have known that they've never made it to the Super Bowl. But I could see kind of that being a way to get somebody, is asking them some pop culture stuff that they would have no idea. Because there is culture differences, clearly, between North Korea and other countries that they're not going to have access to the same information.
Yeah, but if you got the question, that would be an appropriate answer. I don't follow sports ball. Give me another question. But this person's like vehemently like, yeah, go Cowboys. So, of course, they gave the wrong answer.
Can you imagine that? Do you guys remember watching Ender's Game? Is it Ender's Game? No, it's is it Endgame?
The Marvel one?
No. This is the video game movie.
Ready Player One?
Ready Player One,
Yeah.
when they were all going through that last section, and the IOI guys were like brute forcing the last.
Oh yeah, the game. Yeah,
the last part of the
they're
game.
all getting in line and trying to find the hidden room.
As they were trying to get in there, they were trying to play a game, and they kept falling through a trap door to get in to get kicked out of the game. And could you imagine the North Korean interviewees as they're coming through is like, "Oh, you did not pass. You're done."
I think it could be like testing, where like when I took the ZDTA or whatever, that you had to like show my entire room. I had to like rotate my camera, like rotate your camera, show me the room, And if you see a window, what's outside the window right now? You know if that's Dallas or not. Probably, I would hope.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like when they use like AI filters and AI masks, like they tell you to put your hand in front of your face and go slowly and turn, and you could like easily. I think the tech hasn't gotten good enough where it's indistinguishable, but those simple checks of doing that is supposed to weed out a lot of like AI filters and masks. All right, since we said mask for our last topic, and it'll be a rotating topic every week, this week we're going to talk about the Disney cruise experience. I've heard the good, the bad, and the ugly about Disney cruise from other people that have taken it, but I want to hear from someone who just literally got off one.
Let me preface this.
4,000 people, magic in the air, crammed elevators is how one person described it. So what's the good, bad, and ugly about it, Hajni?
The good news is it's a Disney cruise. The bad news is it's a Disney cruise in which you're at the sea with 4,000 people, all packed. No, I am a traditional lazy vacationer. Like when I do vacation, I like to have like a lot of downtime. My wife is very much I can't sit still. I have to get up and run around. So when we go to the parks, like we'll do 5 days of the park. Like we're doing 40,000 steps every day. By the end of it, like my feet are killing me. And she's like, suck it up, Buttercup. We're doing rope drop, and we're doing fireworks, and we're out. We're 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Like, we're doing it. We're making the most out of it.
Wow.
She's a kid in a stroller at this point, because I don't think the kid could do 30,000 steps.
No. I made her do the steps for our 1 day in the park. So like, that's what we did. We did 1 day in the park at Hollywood Studios. She, by the end of it, she goes, Daddy, my feet hurt. I don't know why. And I go, you know how your feet hurt right now? Well, Daddy and Mommy used to do this 5 days. And we used to push you in a stroller. And so I ended up carrying her. Like, she's 50 pounds-ish. And so I just put her on my shoulders and just, like, carried her the rest of the way. Like, out the park into the Skyliner. Yeah, like a good dad.
What a good dad.
But she was very much like, this sucks. So what are we doing? But the Disney cruise, I would say if you're going to do one, get the Disney transportation. Like, that's an optional thing. So if you stay at a resort, which is how they get you, right, money-wise. If you stay at a resort at least 1 day, they will give you free transportation to the port itself and drop you off, and like you get special like accommodations. You get on the ship faster, but once you get on the ship, it's very low key. Like it's just a lot of people everywhere. So like we just started using the steps. Like we were on floor 9 or deck 9. Food was on deck 11. and then like other restaurants were on like deck 3, and we would just walk down because it was literally 10 steps per deck. So it was like just walk down the steps and then go back up the steps, or we'd get in the elevator and go like down and then up because it was just crazy when everybody was at sea. But overall, it was a good time. They have a lot of characters that are on there. They have a lot of like Broadway type shows that they're doing, but the boat, even though it's massive, like the pool area just gets so overcrowded with kids that it's just like you can't really.
It's a lot of pee.
Well, so they kick everybody out every hour.
Urine content of the pool.
Yeah, they kick everybody out every hour and call it a test. And what we heard was that it's to prevent a bunch of kids peeing in the pool constantly. And so they kick them out for like 15, 20 minutes, and then they do like their little safety checks and they let everybody back in. But that is a thing that I observed many times while I was there, is them kicking everybody out.
Yeah, I mean, Disney has it on lock. Like, they know how to run a crowd. Like, to clear people out of the pool, and that encourages people to use the bathroom during that time. And then, just like at a Disney park, like, if you go to Disney Park, they said you're never 10 feet away from a trash can, and that prevents people from littering. Like, they dialed in that info and know that if a trash can is 11 feet away from you, you're just going to throw it on the floor instead of walking to that trash can.
Yeah.
Someone told me as well
Yeah.
that the toilet flushes, that they're all on IoT, so they know when they're not flushing anymore, and they can get those replaced pretty quickly.
Oh, really?
So
that's kind of cool. Until you get a back door.
Internet connected toilet.
They tie the IoT to Glenn's wrist bracelet, and they're like, "This dude's clogging stuff up, guys."
Get him, kick him off.
we're following him around the park, and he's, for some reason, every time he needs a stall, it's clogged.
Supposedly there's a ship.
Getting another corn dog.
Yeah, another corn dog. Supposedly there's a ship, not the one that we were on, but there's another one that, because Disney has I think 4 or 5 now. One of them has like a track record of the sewer blocking up on them, and I'm like, that is the last thing I need on a cruise, or I can't escape.
Yeah,
Like, is the sewer backing up? Like, that is not what. And I guess they just like quietly fix it and then like go about their days, but it'll like back up into people's rooms, or it'll start to like come up. And I'm like, that's not what I would want on my Disney magical adventure.
No, for sure. And that, I guess that's a question, because we've considered going on a Disney cruise. My daughter is old enough where if she sees Elsa, she's not going to say, "Ooh, Elsa," and run up to her or anything. Like, I think she's like at a too cool for baby things anymore.
Chris would do that, though.
Yeah, I would totally do that. But is it, other than, you know, the Disney aspect of it and the characters, like in terms of like food quality, entertainment quality, like if you go and you're not a Disney fanatic, is it still worth the Disney premium?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, there's obviously going to be the Disney stuff, right? But they also have for the kids, which was kind of cool. I have a gripe about it, but I also think it's the greatest thing ever. They have like multiple levels of like kids zones, and they go all the way up to like 17-year-olds, where it's like 15 and 17 to 17 that are in this like area where it's like a bunch of video games and stuff like that they can hang out with, and it's not so much Disney-fied. My issue with it is that the one that my daughter fit into was like 4 to 10-year-olds, and I feel like 10 is too
That's a
much.
big range.
It's a big range for that, and so she wasn't super comfortable with it. She lasted like an hour, and she's like a very social kid. Like, this kid loves to tell her about her life story anytime she meets anybody new, and give hugs and high fives and everything else.
That's not zero trust.
Yeah, no, she's anti-zero trust. I have tried to teach her. Like, she's giving everybody like,
She's like a VPN.
yeah, somebody asked her
Lateral
her name,
movement like crazy.
and she was like giving her full name, middle name, last name, and where she lives. And I'm like, can you not? This person is just asking you your first name. Like, can you not give them all that information out, please? But that's just how she is. And so I think because it was such a wide range, there wasn't like the 10-year-olds, right, were kind of doing whatever they wanted to do and kind of ruling the roost. Like, it was very much hierarchy. But it was cool that they have a place where you can literally just drop these kids off, and they're like certified Disney counselors, they call them, or whatever. It's almost like a camp counselor thing, that they're specially trained, and they have very strict rules. Like, their rules are, we don't go into your kid's bathroom. Like, they refuse your kids to be fully potty trained. We don't change diapers unless they're in the nursery, and we don't feed them any snacks. So bring them food if you need to, and all this other stuff. But that was kind of.
What do you mean they don't feed them snacks? The whole cruise has
because of allergies,
freaking snacks all over. Oh,
because they don't want to
It's
deal
just
with
having a
it.
feeding trough for these kids.
Yeah, so they don't want to deal with the allergies piece, and that's the reason why. Which makes sense, right? Like, you don't want somebody with a peanut allergy all of a sudden.
Gotta be responsible.
Yeah, so that was probably the coolest part about it was that, and I mean, they still go to the Bahamas, right? So it's like they go to the beaches. And they have the people that are on the beach rushing around trying to give you drinks and everything else and sell you everything. And yeah, so it was overall a cool experience, and I would definitely do it again, even if it wasn't Disney.
Do yourself all a favor next time you're going out to eat. When they ask you any allergies, always say cats, and just look at them with a dead look in your face. But you didn't specify. Like
so that's an interview. Be like, oh, you too, huh?
Nice callback, Glenn.
Yeah. It's funny though. Sometimes people are like, we don't serve cats here. I'm like, I know, but you didn't specify. I thought you were just like pollen and kitty cats,
Food
right?
allergy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's Glenn's question to his interviews. What's your favorite preparation of dog?
What the hell?
All right, so I guess we're running up on time here. Last question from me, at least. I've heard that Disney cruises are set up for parents, like specifically for parents, like they have the kid drop off. And again, secondhand, I hear like if you do a couples massage, like you get the couples massage, you do it side by side, you have a massage therapist, and then the therapist will leave you and like we'll let you relax. We'll be back in 30 or so minutes. There's a bed there. Do with it whatever you want to. We'll be back in 30 minutes. Like, was that?
I only need
that
27. Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is kind of an interesting way we're going with this. I didn't know this was part of the Disney package. I didn't get to explore this option. No, so we didn't do the couples thing because, like I said, my daughter lasted an hour in the kids area. So that was like enough time to drop her off and then get back to like, I don't remember where we went. We went to do something that was also like to benefit her in some way. But I do know that they do have the couples thing. I don't know about that particular detail, but who knows? I would not be surprised if something were to happen. I did hear that Disney cruises have a large swinger community that I did read about that before I got on the ship, and I thought that was interesting.
Do they really?
Yeah, apparently it's a big thing with cruises in general. But yeah, apparently Disney specifically has a large community of folks who go on the ship for one thing and one thing only.
Happiest place on earth.
Yeah, so whatever.
Let's bring our kids and go swinging.
Yeah.
Gross.
So yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think the not the swinging thing, but the former thing of allowing parents to have their alone time. I think that is a business decision, right? Because the more children you make, the more you feed into this Disney ecosystem. You're creating future customers. So, I mean, makes sense on the face of it. And Disney cruises tend to be, there's the Disney premium over the standard cruise price.
And they have no packages. So there's no alcohol package. Like, I went on an Alaskan cruise and you could pay, I think it was like $400 for an alcohol package or whatever, and that gives you unlimited drinks. They don't do that on Disney cruises. There is none of that. You pay for them all, like, as you get them. And so I could see you dropping your kid off. Like,
what?
Yeah. So we racked up those cruise totals at the end of it. But it was very much a case of like, hey, yeah, if you want a drink, they just they charge your room and they give you the check or whatever, they add gratuity. And so if you're dropping kids off, like, that gives you more chances to do those adult things like the spa days or whatever, but also to go to the bar and spend an absorbent amount of money now on alcohol that they're charging because it's on a cruise. So.
Yep. Very captive audience. All right. Well, one of the other ones of us will have to go and we'll have to report back. I think Glenn sees a Disney cruise for the family in his future.
I like it.
No such thing.
You should, Glenn.
No such thing.
Do it, Chris.
Maybe Chris. Chris for sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
Daddy Warbucks over here.
Daddy Warbucks.
Oh, we continue to get great comments about our dad joke of the week. Dad joke of the week. This week we have our dad joke master, Stephen Hatchney, is up.
Oh, man. Yeah, so on my way home from the airport, I passed by the new Doritos farm. It was a really cool ranch.
There you go.
There we go.
Like that's a joke you should tell the North Korean interview candidates. Like, all right, explain the joke now.
The genie for Aladdin, the Broadway show, was hilarious and breaking the fourth wall a lot. But his whole thing was like, we did petition Taco Bell for Deech's sake to bring back Cool Ranch Dorito tacos. And like that was like his bit every time. He's like, you have 3 wishes. And he's like, the third wish could be to bring back Doritos Cool Ranch tacos.
Cool Ranch, yeah.
I just want the double decker taco back.
Wishes.
Do you think a North Korean guy could get the joke ransomware?
Victor, the interview master. All right, to wrap things up, Shopify is the first large company to make AI usage mandatory. Healthcare needs better network segmentation. The Dallas Cowboys suck. And Disney Cruises want you to make more kids. That's all I have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Find us on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to our listeners and subscribers who rate us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. Best way to find us is to search for the PEBCAK Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. My co-hosts Brian Deitch and Glenn Medina, and our guest Stephen Hajny. I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next week, and as always, have a nice day.
Bird is the word. Bird. Let me keep going so you say stop. Bird is the word.
All right.
I give up.
And stop.
NFT.
I'm not stuck.